So, quick one, who is MailStore? MailStore is made in Germany. So MailStore was founded in Germany in 2006. We have about 50 employees and have about 80,000 customers in over 100 countries. We are highly specialized in email archiving for SMBs. We define SMBs as companies with about 500 seats, even though our software does support up to about 2,000 users per installation. We're part of the MailStore was purchased by Carbonite back in 2014, and Carbonite is also now part of the OpenText corporation or company. So along with WebRoot, Carbonite, MailStore, we're all part of OpenText now. We have 3 products in our portfolio. Essentially, the first product, or where it all started, is MailStore Home, which was created for private users as a solution to help them manage their emails. It's a free-to-use software. It's available on various computer websites, download lists, and has probably been downloaded millions of times. And it's pretty much a great tool because it creates awareness for archiving, how it's helpful, and is essentially the foundation for our business product, which is the orange box MailStore server, which is our core product and aimed at all businesses. In 2014, MailStore brought out the Service Provider Edition, or the SPE, which is aimed at managed service providers. So essentially that's the MailStore portfolio. As mentioned, MailStore Server, that's the primary product. It's installed on the customer's own infrastructure and has a perpetual licensing model. The Service Provider Edition, that's really for partners who have their own or rented infrastructure and are looking at offering their customers email archiving as a service. It allows them to offer email archiving under their own branding, so it's a white label product, as well as under their own pricing and their own pricing structure. We have about 1,000 MSPs worldwide who are using the SPE. We keep an eye on what's happening with emails, and is there a chance that emails may become obsolete at some point? What's happening in the email landscape? And what we're seeing is essentially that emails will not become obsolete, and in fact that the email volume is still growing. So year on year, email volume is just increasing. There's various reasons for that. So the one would be social media, mobile devices. You have businesses who are becoming more and more digital, so their entire business processes are becoming more digital. The fact that you need an email to sign up for pretty much every service, and basically email is still the number one business tool for communication. It is continuously increasing. If you just look at like an average order or an average online purchase, so you're going to need an email to even in the first place to make that purchase. You receive an order confirmation, you receive a payment confirmation, you get an email that the order is going to be shipped, there's a delivery confirmation, it's followed up by satisfaction or product review. So just one online order will result in a whole chain of emails being sent. So just because the volume and the number of emails is growing, it doesn't mean that the emails have less value. It doesn't diminish their value. So because you have entire business processes taking place via email, you've got quotes being sent, orders, invoices, the entire customer conversation is taking place via email. And that information that's being shared via email can include sensitive information, also it can be valuable information. You're looking at personal information, there are contact details, there are business plans, finance plans, travel plans, reports, a lot of valuable information that our customers, they take it for granted, and they only really miss that information when they can't access it and when it's gone. So generally speaking, we're seeing that emails are going to stay with us. The number of emails is going to keep increasing. Those emails are still valuable, they're still relevant, and that brings with it a couple of challenges. So you have one of the biggest challenges is missing emails. So that can be, emails can go missing for various reasons. One thing that a lot of companies don't want to think about is malicious deletion. So that's, you have people deleting emails on purpose, and I've had this experience at a previous job where I was working, where as an employee we were responsible every time our inboxes got too full. We had to create a PST file of our inbox, export the emails into this PST, and save the PST file somewhere on the system. And one of my colleagues learned or was going to be retrenched and lose her job, and she went ahead and deleted everything. So she deleted all the emails in her mailbox. She went ahead and deleted all the PST files. In fact, she went ahead and tried to delete anything she could get her hands on out of revenge. And these scenarios happen a lot more often than a lot of companies want to admit. You have cases where accidental deletion. So you're trying to clean up your inbox, and you just delete the wrong email, and that happens almost on a regular basis. You have cases where the admin makes an error. So if they've maybe implemented, incorrectly applied a policy in Microsoft 365, or maybe there's something's gone wrong with the migration, and emails are missing. Another big one is also PST files. So a lot of customers still rely on PST files. They tend to, if they get too big, they get corrupted, or they're not being stored centrally, so they tend to go missing. They're difficult to back up. Another challenge we see, or it's quite a big one, is the risk of exposure. So if you're running a business, it's likely that at some point you will have a dispute. So you're going to have a dispute maybe with your supplier, one of your customers, one of your employees. And without a record of email that you can fully trust and hasn't been tampered with, you're going to leave yourself exposed. So with an employee dispute, this could be something quite serious. So the serious accusations. So you're going to have claims maybe of abuse, harassment, things like disagreements or misunderstandings regarding tasks, promotions, bonuses, and so on. And all that can be found in emails, and emails play a vital role in that. There are compliance requirements. So compliance requirements can be industry specific. So for the banking or finance sectors, or on an international level. So that would be, for example, the European GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, which means and that affects companies outside of the EU. So if your business is offering goods and or services to citizens in the EU, then it's actually subject to GDPR. Emails that are being sent to your customers, to suppliers, to partners, sometimes contain legally relevant information, and you're going to maybe need those emails as evidence in legal proceedings. We've had a few customers where the admins have had to spend months and months searching and indexing various PST files, looking for specific emails that were needed as evidence for these legal proceedings. And if you don't have a tool to assist with this e-discovery, it's going to be a nightmare to resolve. if you look at maybe a classic customer dispute, red door, blue door scenario, where there's a difference in what the customer ordered and what was actually delivered. So in this case, the customer is building a house and they've ordered red doors, but the builders, they delivered and installed blue doors. So in this situation, you're going to want to investigate the email correspondence. You want to see like what went wrong, where did it go wrong, who is at fault. So you're going to need access to that email conversation, and you're going to need to find it quickly. And at the same time, you need to know that that email conversation is authentic and hasn't been tampered with. Other factors is, what if the employee who's responsible is not around? What if he's left the company? What if they're on holiday? How do you access those emails? So what is maybe a very simple dispute can quickly become quite a difficult thing to resolve without access to those emails. Last but not least is the issue of overloaded mailboxes. So most businesses have employees who love to keep all the email just in case they need it, and that tends to cause problems with your Exchange environments and Microsoft 365 because email clients tend to run quicker with the less email they have to work with. So regardless of the platform you're using, big mailboxes will have an impact that affect the performance with slow searches and load times. And so a lot of companies, they use 365, and that 50 gig that comes with 365 can sometimes be quickly used up. So with all those challenges that that our customers have, or that people have managing emails, all of them can be resolved by using email archiving. The idea of how does email archiving work? So if you look at right now, you have incoming and outgoing emails being sent to and from the users, and they're being handled by your email system. So the email system can be cloud-based services like 365, Google Workspace, or on-prem email servers, Microsoft Exchange, or any IMAP POP3 server. And with email archiving, you're basically supplementing the existing email system. So the admin configures which emails are to be transferred to the archive and when, and if the archived emails should then be deleted from the mailboxes on the email server. So with emails archiving, the emails can automatically be stored in the archive before they reach the user's inbox and as soon as they are sent. So all the emails are securely stored and they cannot be tampered with. Retention policies can be put in place so that emails that are no longer needed are automatically deleted, helping with compliance. And then the emails that are in the archive, they can be easily searched, helping with e-discovery and auditing scenarios. At the same time, you can give the user access to the archive so they can search for emails and attachments. And once they found these emails, they can restore them simply, and they can access the archive pretty much from anywhere using something like web access. There are two archiving methods available, and choosing one depends on the email infrastructure, but also what is the customer's objectives. If the objective is compliance, then the journaling method is the best method, as all emails are archived before they are delivered to the user's mailboxes. For folder structure and load reduction as an objective, then you'd want to be looking at mailbox archiving, where all historical emails are archived from the individual mailboxes of the users. Both methods can be combined, and in fact, before you implement journaling, it makes sense to first archive all the historical data via mailbox archiving, and then once you've done the mailbox archiving, you then implement journaling to ensure that all new emails are captured. So this way you keep only the newest emails in the system, as the old emails are in the archive, and that would help with load reduction. You then, with the implemented journaling, you ensure that all the new emails that are coming in and going out are sent straight to the archive. So implementing email archiving provides advantages to all users of the business. So from the business owner to the employees. The business owner wants to reduce their risk as much as possible. So that would mean dealing with compliance, GDPR scenarios. The owner also wants to make sure that the data in business emails is secure, and at the same time try and keep the IT costs down. The advantages for an IT admin: they want to make sure the email servers are running smoothly and with a lower workload. Through the deduplication and compression of emails and the attachments, it's possible to also save up 70% of the storage space. And emails safely stored in the archive don't also need to be stored on the mail server. So basically you keep maybe the latest email, 6 months old or a year old emails on the mail server, and users can access all the older historic emails via the email archive. And that would also then help simplify the backup and restore process. And at the same time, the IT admin would benefit from MailStore servers, that it's a very low maintenance software that's quick and easy to set up. The users, they benefit in the most part from the MailStore add-in for Outlook. So it's essentially a shortcut, the button that's a nice add-in into Outlook, so they don't have to get used to a new software. They keep using the same environment. It provides them with really fast search functionality, where we actually see users only using the MailStore search and not bothering to use the standard Outlook search, which is much slower. Also the ability for the users to search through attachments and also to restore. So the user can, once the user's found the email they want, they can simply restore the email with just a click. They don't need to involve the admin to restore that email. Essentially, MailStore customers, if we look at who's a MailStore customer, we have companies or customers from all industry segments. So all companies, or all SMB companies, regardless of their size and industry, can benefit from email archiving. More popular industries that we have, it differs from country to country, but we have a lot of customers who are in the logistics, shipping industries, law firms, accounting firms, tax firms are quite strict on protecting the emails, and are some of our more popular customer groups. You have manufacturing companies, so they need to control the information. There's a lot of back and forth email communication between their suppliers and their customers. We're getting a lot of we see a lot of customer requests from the healthcare sectors, essentially because they need to securely store and manage patient information, and also more and more government organizations, departments, or educational schools, colleges and the like are becoming more and more digital, and they need help in managing their data. But essentially any company that's using emails would benefit from email archiving. Backup versus archiving. So we run into this topic, I'm going to say, almost on a daily basis. So you'll speak to a customer and they say, I don't need to archive my emails because I do backups on a regular basis, or every day at 3 o'clock in the morning we run a backup. But none of the previously mentioned points or those advantages for the owner, the IT admin, the user, can be achieved using backups. And the concept of backup and email archiving they're two entirely different concepts. They go hand in hand and complement one another. But backup is a short-term disaster recovery tool. Email archiving, on the other hand, is a continuous and long-term process. So with email archiving, the idea is you want to store something for many years in its entirety, authentic and tamper-proof. But at the same time, you want to make that information accessible over a period of many years and also available at short notice. So both, you need email archiving and backup as part of the business continuity structure, or as part of your business continuity plan. Backups are essentially, they're snapshots, so they're not going to help you reduce the loads on your email server. They're not going to help eliminate mailbox quotas or get rid of Pst Files. More importantly, what's happening with your emails in between the backups? So they're not running constantly. In the best case, they're running once a day. So users can still delete and tamper with emails in between the backups. So how are you protecting your emails in between the backups? Users cannot search and restore emails themselves from a backup. Even recovering an email from a backup is going to take up a lot of time to try and find that one individual email. And the idea is, as a company, you should have both backup in place, but also email archiving, because you should also be backing up your email archives. And most MailStore partners they offer their customers both solutions, and they use it as a cross-selling opportunity. If you're selling backup, you should be selling archiving, and vice versa. Microsoft 365 is a big one. So it's obviously more and more companies are all moving to 365. Every year it's just increasing. And there's this misconception that if your emails are in the cloud, the customers think that everything is 100% safe and sound in the cloud. But there's a few things they should be aware of. So with 365, one of the biggest topics is data responsibility. So even though you're using Microsoft 365, you are still responsible for your data. Microsoft, they will do backups, but that's for their own disaster recovery purposes and to make sure that the platform is up and running. The backups they do, they're not for you as a user to restore your data from, and essentially that's this shared responsibility model that they have. So they were responsible for the platform and for their own data and for making sure everything's up and running, and you are responsible for your data. And that's essentially the shared responsibility. If you take a look at the Microsoft Customer Support Service Agreement, it clearly states that the data can be lost, it can become corrupted or breached, and that you are responsible for the backup of any and all data. MailStore provides you with independence from Microsoft. So with Microsoft 365, even the archive data resides in the same tenant. And basically with that, by all being in the same tenant, you're violating the best practice 3-2-1 rule. where you have 3 copies of your data and you store 2 backup copies on different storage media, with one of them being located offsite. So considering how important the emails are to the business, you want to keep full control of your emails. You want to ensure and make sure they are portable. And you also want to avoid a vendor lock-in. And you should also really be keeping a complete record of all your email communication that is totally independent from the email platform itself. Because if the Microsoft services go down, then you may not be able to access your emails. So MailStore also assists and allows you to stay flexible. MailStore allows you to import emails from various sources, but also to export them in various formats, and also allows you through that to stay flexible. there's a self-service aspect. So with MailStore, as mentioned earlier on, the users can search and recover emails quickly and efficiently on their own without the need to involve the IT staff. So you're giving users the power to work independently. They don't need to hassle the IT admins to search and restore single emails. If you see you have a lot of customers, or if you have a lot of customers who are using 365, we brought out this white paper a while back. It's pretty much a deep dive into the archiving capabilities of 365, and basically why it basically shows you a few gaps and what is 365 providing you with, and why it makes sense to maybe use something like MailStore to supplement those weaknesses in the 365 scenario. So if at any point you are interested in going through that, I would be happy to share that. That's pretty much the idea behind email archiving, but why MailStore specifically? We touched on it earlier on, is the flexible archiving. So we really support almost all email systems and archiving methods. So from your classics like Microsoft Exchange to the cloud scenario, so the 365, the Google Workspace, pretty much any email system that supports IMAP and POP3, we can archive from that. You can also import and archive all the PST files that customers have lying around. We provide flexible access. So as a user, there's various ways of accessing the archive that can be done through the MailStore client. We have a responsive web access, which basically allows you to access the archive from pretty much any mobile device, be it a smartphone or a tablet. Pretty much, you don't need an app, just any device with a browser. And the main one is the Outlook add-in. So I think Michael will show this in the live demo in a bit. But basically, it's fully integrated into your Outlook program. You just click on it, you search, you can restore. It's really simple and easy to use for users. They don't need a special training or anything like that. It's really self-explanatory. We provide flexible storage management. The software is easy to install and maintain. It's useful. You can archive existing emails. It's user-friendly. We provide self-service for the user. Flexible in the email systems we support, in the archiving methods, and it's really a great fit for SMB companies. We're also GDPR certified, so a lot of compliance scenarios can be covered by using MailStore. So that's pretty much the sales presentation as such, or basically a quick look into email archiving, into MailStore server. I think Heiko would pass over to you for the live demo, and then we can go through any questions that you may have.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna take over from here.
Manav sir, anything you would like to ask here?
Not at this moment.
Okay. So let's go through the demo, then we will take it. Okay.
So I'm gonna share my screen. I just give you a brief overview of MailStore server.
Yes.
Okay, so what you can see here is MailStore client, the administration tool for MailStore server, which runs as a service in the background. So usually if you set it up, you go through a few steps. You set up users. The best way to do so is not to create them manually, but to synchronize the user list with any kind of directory services. So no matter if you have Microsoft 365 mailboxes you want to archive and therefore synchronize with Microsoft 365, or if you have a local Active Directory where you have users you want to synchronize, we have several options. We recommend to create groups and to add those users that you want to archive, and therefore you only have to license those users. And this can be, well, any user, mailboxes like normal users, shared mailboxes, public folders. So yeah, whatever you want to archive, it's basically possible. So if you synchronize to users, then you set up archive profiles. This could be email files. For example, if you want to archive all your Pst files, this would be an option. And usually you have users that have left the company and you still have Pst files of them. So you just temporarily create those users in MailStore, archive the Pst files, and afterwards you delete those users again, which means the license is free again for other users, but the archive still remains. So you don't have to license former employees, but you're able to archive their Pst files, or basically any file type. And of course, for the live environment, for the active users, you set up archiving profiles. And here it doesn't matter if it's IMAP mailboxes or any kind of IMAP mail server. If it's an exchange, no matter if it's on-prem or a hosted one, or if you have your messages directly at Microsoft 365, and then you set up the archiving profiles. For this, basically we have two types of profiles. It's possible to archive the mailboxes directly, which means if you look into this, then you could select what kind of folders do you want to archive. Do you want to have any inclusions or exclusions? You're able to archive the folder structure, the historical data, like all the messages and the folders according to it in the what you can find in the user's mailboxes. You could define filter rules. You could also define deletion rules. So you could say, let's delete everything older than a year, for example. So with this, make sure that you don't run or exceed any quota limitations, that you make sure that the database size stays at a certain level. If it's an on-premise exchange, well, the smaller the database, the faster the access, the faster backup. So there are many advantages. And of course, well, with Microsoft 365, you have your 50 gigabyte limit. And if you exceed this, well, then you do have a problem, or if you get close to the limit. And with this, you make sure that you don't exceed any limitations. And for those messages that are deleted, of course, they will just be deleted if they've been successfully archived. So users are still able to access the messages. They just have to access the archive to see all the messages. So this archive profile is really good to make sure you keep the database at a certain level, you have all the historical data. We also offer the option to set up a journal archiving rule. No matter if it's an on-prem solution or if it's Microsoft 365, you set up a rule on the mail server that every incoming and outgoing message will be copied to a specified mailbox. And with this, you make sure that users cannot manipulate or delete any message before the message has been archived, because here we have a copy and the user don't have access to those copies. So for compliance reasons, this is very important, because these archive profiles, they could be executed automatically, of course, and you define the time between the executions, but archiving like millions of messages will take a while. And even though we just compare those messages to our archived ones and skip those that already have been archived, it still takes minutes, at least to check if there are any new messages. So there's a time window where users could delete messages or manipulate messages. And for this, we have the journal archiving. And the journal archive profile could be just a profile for an on-premise exchange, where you have a mailbox on the exchange. Or if it's Microsoft 365, for this, you are not allowed to have a mailbox in the same tenant. So you need to have an external mailbox where you forward all the messages to. And for this, we offer the MailStore Gateway, which is just a free tool that you could install on the machine where MailStore server is installed and forward all the messages. And then MailStore would access this mailbox and distribute those forwarded copies of messages to the user's archives. So by combining both profiles, well, you have basically everything, like the historical data, the folder structure, the option to delete messages, and you have the copied messages, so the compliance part is also covered, because once mails have been archived, they cannot be changed in MailStore's database, but you have to make sure that they cannot be changed by users before those messages have been archived. And yeah, basically it's quite simple. So you synchronize users, you set up the archive profiles, set those profiles either to automatic, or you go to jobs and say, hey, I want to execute my profile for my 365 mailboxes maybe at nighttime at 2 in the morning. So it's quite easy to set up. In addition to this, you could also set up compliance rules like retention policies, where you make sure that, for example, messages cannot be deleted for 10 years. So even if maybe the board of directors wants to have the rights to delete message, which usually you shouldn't grant the users, but maybe there's a need to, you still have to make sure that you keep messages for a certain period of time. And here with retention policies, on one hand, you can make sure that users cannot delete any messages. So let me just enable all of them. So like I just look into a message and say I want to delete this. I have to type in a reason. I'm admin, I could do anything I want, but still, no, I can't, because there are retention policies. So even as admin, I'm not allowed to delete messages. These retention policies can be everything. It's basically like a search. So whatever you search for as part of the subject, as part of the body, maybe a message sent to like jobs at example.com, so for job applications. With this rule, you make sure that messages cannot be deleted or should automatically be deleted after a certain period of time. So like here in Germany, we are just allowed to archive and then hold messages for job applications for up to 6 months, and then we have to delete them. So with this and simple, easy rule, make sure that those messages would be automatically deleted from the archive. Basically, we have other options here. User activities would be locked. You can configure this for many activities. Some will affect all users, some only admins. You can change this, of course, and this will be logged into an encrypted log file. Of course, there are other things to configure. I just give you a brief overview. Let me log in as a user. So basically there are two major options or ways to access the archive. One is the web access. So you could access via browser, like from your computer, from your mobile device. If you have Linux or Macintosh devices, this would be an option. If I just look into a message, then I could just click on restore and the message would be restored to my mailbox. And of course, this web access is a fully responsive one. So it fits to the resolution, it scales to the resolution of your device. So if it's a tablet, maybe if it's a smartphone, it looks like this. And yeah, it's an easy way to access the archive. Of course, we do have the Outlook add-in, and I would say maybe 80 to 90% of our customers use this Outlook add-in because most of them actually use Outlook. Here we have the option to just click on MailStore to maybe run a search. Let's search for test, click on search, and then yeah, after a second I get 55 results. And here I could just click on the message, I could open the message and could forward and reply to this message, or I could click on restore message and just drag and drop the message to any folder I want to restore the message to. And this could also be the desktop, that I drag and drop the message to the desktop and access it from here. So it's self-explaining, it's easy to use. I could, instead of using this advanced search or quick search, could just browse my archive through the folder structure. So it's really easy to use, and even here I do have all my folders and my messages, and I just select the message and could, read it, open it, restore it, print it. So it's an easy way for users. You don't have to teach them how to use this, to train them. You just distribute this add-in through group policies, and then users are able to access the archive. And in this case, Dave just has access to his own archive. I could also grant Dave access to other users' archives, and then they would appear also in the list of folders. That's basically it for the brief overview. Do you have any questions?
I have one question. If suppose
Yes.
customer outgoing server, say let's take an example, they have around 15 computer company, 15 user company,
Yes.
and all are accessing their mails in Outlook from the hosting server. It means that they don't have any local mail